It was the summer of 2024, and my three buddies, Jake, Sam, Marcus, and I, were desperate for a break. We were interning at the Kennedy Space Center, and after weeks buried in rocket data, we needed to escape. Being the star geeks we are, we craved a night under a truly pristine sky, the kind you can't find anywhere near a city. So, we started planning. We pored over light pollution maps and spent hours on Google Maps, searching for the perfect spot. We finally zeroed in on a remote clearing deep in Tate's Hell State Forest. It's this swampy, desolate stretch of Florida's Panhandle, famous for its darkness and its spooky legend. The name comes from an old story about a settler, Tate, who supposedly got lost in the swamp back in the 1800s, driven mad by some curse before he vanished. We laughed it off. Ghost stories were for kids. We just wanted to see the stars. Our base of operations was an Airbnb, a cozy little cabin we found near Apalachicola, about 30 miles from the forest's edge. The plan was simple: drive up, see the stars, and head back to the cabin. No camping gear needed, just blankets, snacks, and a good telescope. That Friday, right after work, we loaded up my Tesla Model Y and Marcus' Mustang. The 7-hour drive was a total grind. We were already exhausted by the time we hit the Airbnb late that night. We were racing against the clock, eager to make the most of the clear night sky. The final stretch into Tate's Hell was something else entirely. The paved road disappeared, replaced by these narrow, twisting dirt trails that snaked through dense pine trees and murky wetlands. The air was incredibly thick and humid, filled with the constant, deafening buzz of cicadas. Every now and then we'd hear a splash in the dark water just off the trail, and your mind just starts to race. Of course, there was absolutely no cell service out there. We were completely cut off. Our only connection was a pair of walkie-talkies we used to communicate between the two cars. Their static-filled crackle slicing through the suffocating darkness. It felt like we were driving into another world. Finally, around 2 in the morning, the trees opened up, and we reached the clearing, and the sky. It was unreal. I've never seen anything like it. The Milky Way was a brilliant, shimmering river overhead, and the stars blazed so brightly they felt close enough to just reach out and grab. It was exactly what we had been hoping for. We wasted no time, spreading out our blankets on the ground, setting up the telescope, and just diving into the cosmic spectacle above us. For a few glorious minutes, it was perfect, pure peace. We were only about 15 minutes in, just starting to get the telescope dialed in on a nebula, when Sam's voice hissed through my walkie-talkie. "Dude, you see those headlights?" I looked up from the eyepiece and followed his gaze. Sure enough, a faint, solitary glow was slowly creeping along the same winding trail we'd just driven in on. Now, you have to understand, we were miles deep in a massive state forest. My first thought was maybe it was a park ranger, but something about it just felt off. The way the lights moved, slow and deliberate, wasn't like a routine patrol. A knot of unease started to tighten in my stomach. The perfect peace of the clearing was suddenly gone, replaced by a tense, watchful silence. We all just stood there, staring at the approaching lights, a million questions racing through our minds. Who else would be out here at this hour? I decided to signal them. Maybe it was just another group of stargazers lost. I flicked my headlights on and off. 3 short, sharp bursts, a universal hello in the dark. The response was immediate, and not at all what I expected. The headlights stopped moving. An old beat-up pickup truck, now visible, just sat there, maybe 100 yards down the trail. It didn't flash its lights back. It didn't honk. The engine just idled. Nothing. Just dead silence from their end. The unease I felt before was now turning into genuine fear. This wasn't normal then. The truck's doors creaked open. Figures stepped out. It was too dark to make out any details, but we could see 2, maybe 3 silhouettes standing there, motionless, just outside the glow of their headlights. And they were just staring directly at us across the clearing. The silence stretched on, thick and heavy. Then, we heard it. Voices, low garbled whispers drifting across the swampy air. We couldn't make out the words, but the tone was menacing. It wasn't a friendly conversation. It was the kind of sound that makes the hair on your arms stand up. "This is messed up," Marcus finally said, his voice barely a whisper. He was right. Every instinct was screaming at us to get out of there. We didn't say another word. We just scrambled, throwing the telescope, the blankets, everything, into the back of the cars. Adrenaline was pumping. I fumbled with my keys, my hands shaking. As soon as we were in, I slammed the car into drive. Marcus did the same. We ripped out of that clearing, tires spinning in the dirt, and shot back down the trail we came in on. We didn't look back, not at first. We just drove, desperate to put as much distance as possible between us and those figures in the dark. For a moment, I thought we were clear. I thought maybe we had overreacted, that it was all just a weird misunderstanding. Then, in my rearview mirror, I saw it. The headlights, they were back on, and they were moving. They were following us, and they were getting closer. The single beam of the old pickup truck burned in my mirror. Then the engine roared to life, a deep guttural rev that echoed through the trees. It wasn't the sound of a vehicle just driving. It was a threat. They were chasing us. The next few minutes were pure panic. The drive through those winding dirt trails became a nightmare. I was pushing the Tesla harder than I ever had before on a surface like that. Marcus was right behind me, his Mustang fishtailing in the loose dirt. In my mirror, their high beams were relentless, blinding me. Every turn was a gamble. I was terrified of taking a wrong turn and ending up trapped in some dead-end trail deep in the swamp. The walkie-talkie was just a mess of panicked shouts and static. The whole time, that single set of headlights stayed locked onto us, an unblinking eye in the darkness. It felt like it went on for an eternity. Then, just when I thought our luck had run out, I saw it. The dirt trail ahead started to widen, to look more solid. A flicker of reflective green appeared in the distance, a highway sign. We had made it back to the main road. I floored it, the Tesla leaping forward as its tires finally hit smooth pavement. Marcus was right on my tail. We didn't slow down. We just kept going, putting mile after mile between us and the forest. After what felt like an eternity, I finally risked a glance in the rearview mirror. Nothing. The headlights were gone. The truck had vanished as mysteriously as it had appeared. We pulled over to the side of the highway, our engines still running, our hearts pounding in our chests. We just sat there in the sudden silence, panting, listening to the normal, comforting chirp of crickets and the low hiss of the walkie-talkie. The terrifying roar of the truck and the garbled whispers were gone, replaced by the sounds of a normal Florida night. We never talked about what we would have done if they had caught us. We didn't need to. We just drove the rest of the way back to the cabin in silence. We never went back to Tate's hell, and I don't think I'll ever look at a dark forest the same way again. Some legends, it turns out, might have a grain of truth to them. Thanks for watching. If you have any creepy stories of your own, drop them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Stay safe out there.